Hi everybody, I'm Evelyn Rysdyk, and I'm very grateful to be here inside of this newsletter. I'm grateful also to Sandra Engerman for inviting me to do this little video, and I'm excited for all of you to join me in what will be a healing ceremony. But for now, let's start with honoring the spirits of all directions. Now, every one of us does this in a different way. And do what feels right to you while I do this, and if you want to chime in with what I'm doing, that's good too. What matters is not the form, what matters is what's right here. So here we go, and I'll close my eyes for this. First, bringing ourselves into our bodies, into where you are right now. And take a nice breath, since we're always going in several directions at the same time, thinking one thing and doing something else. So just breathe yourself into the present moment. And from this center that we create intentionally, we turn to the east. We honor the helpful healing spirits of the east, of the upper worlds, the middle world, and the lower worlds. We honor the new beginnings of dawn, the springtime, each new beginning that we can experience during the day, where we start fresh. The next moment is always a possibility. It's always a doorway for us. And we honor those beings from the natural world that awaken again in springtime. The green beings, the plants and the trees that wake up again, using the stores of sugar in their roots and in their bulbs to put out new greenery and filling the world again with life. And the birds that return from their migrations, and all the animals that go about reproducing a new generation. The animals, the birds, the plants and trees are invested in the growing season beginning so that they can move their species forward another year, another generation. And think about that energy of new beginnings in your body right now. Think about how you want to use the next breath. Perhaps falling into a place of gratitude. Perhaps it's a sense of wonder. Perhaps it's silence. And when you're ready, turn to the south. We honor the spirits there of the upper worlds, middle world, and lower world. All those spirits. And we honor the season of fullness that is summer, when all the species are on full vitality. All the plants are busy with their leaves, making sugar to store in their roots, setting seed, flowering. The animals and birds bring their young ones to see the fawns from the deer, the young birds that haven't yet learned their ancestral songs quite right. Like teenage boys, their voices crack and they intermingle their newly learned songs, still with those begging cheeps that they make, hoping that their parents will feed them one more time. And summer is an exuberant season filled with vitality, filled with a sense of expansion. We step out of our homes and we use the rest of where we live as living space in the summer. Sitting outside, doing tasks outside, enjoying moving around the natural world that feels effortless in the summer. All the energy we receive from those longer days gives us more vitality, more sparkle, more energy. And summer is that time to celebrate. I honor all the life forms around where I am. We see a lot of animals that come close to our home. There's a little river just down the street from us. And even the beavers waddle up once in a while. It's a joyful season. So you may want to choose to honor your power animal at this point. And all the versions of that power animal that you see in physical form in the world. And if not seeing them in person in the world, perhaps seeing them in some other way. So breathe in that vitality in the south as we turn now to the west, where the days begin to get shorter again. In the autumn, and we honor there in the west the spirits of the upper worlds, middle world, and lower worlds. Those spirits that support us to do some interior work after the busyness of summer. As the days grow short and the nights grow longer, we can spend time with the stars beginning in autumn. You can also savor, if you're in a place where the seasons shift in an obvious way, as it does here in the north, you can celebrate the season that has gone by with all the colors that are available in the fall. There's nothing more marvelous than the low light of afternoon illuminating the trees and all the smallest plants as they show off their autumn color. And here where I live, the sky's clear again in autumn. And so there's a seamless blue sky, and every color of the rainbow is expressed in nature. And how beautiful those leaves become. And in truth, that beauty was always there. Because as the green fades and the plants and the trees shut down photosynthesis, the green fades and reveals the colors that were already there. How marvelous to think that in that great green of summer lurks all the bright yellows and oranges and reds and purples and all the colors of fall. What a miracle that is. And we give a thanks for the opportunity to process all that's gone before and do that work inside. And so breathe your gratitude for the West as we turn now to the North. In the North, we honor the spirits of the upper worlds, the middle world, and lower worlds. And there, I like to honor the ancestors that have gone before us. All those beings, not just the human ones, but all the beings, the one that was the first one with a backbone, the ones that even predated those beings, all the way back to those cells that decided that they could work together. They think it was an algae cell and a bacteria that got together. The algae making food as plants do, and the bacteria transforming it into energy. And that is how we got our mitochondria in every cell. Those little aspects of our cell that turn our food into energy. Energy for our muscles and our nerves and the rest of our body, and also the energy of heat. We are endotherms. We make our own heat. And we honor our human ancestors, going all the way back. And inside of us, in our DNA, we have their collective wisdom, their collective creativity. We call on them to support us in our lives. Helpful, healing ancestors, be with us. Help us to be the best versions of us that we can be. And now we rise up to the above direction to honor the spirits from other dimensions, from other worlds beyond our world, from galaxies beyond our galaxy, to the sisters and brothers of our galaxy, because everything is connected. And so we honor those spirits who help to keep company to our galaxy, our sun, our planet held in the sun's embrace. And then we land here in the circle, giving thanks for these other hearts that are present. And just allow yourself to give thanks in that way. And gratitude always moistens my eyes. Always a tear or two when I'm in gratitude, which I actually really appreciate. So we're going to just talk a little bit about the soil, and then we're going to move on to our ceremony. So the living soil, I don't mean the soil that's underneath a manicured lawn, because that's a monoculture and the soil there is not very rich. But the true living soil, soil that is healthy, is filled with organisms. In fact, there are so many microorganisms in healthy soil that science hasn't even classified them yet. There's a whole biozone in the soil with a biomass of beings that live in it and contribute to its vitality, its fertility. And soil is a wonderful example, in a kind of microcosm, of how beings working together actually make something better than they could on their own. To be able to work together in that interlaced way allows each one of us and each one of those organisms to do their very best at what they're good at, right? So if you think of the fungi, who are really good at putting out a network, or the different creatures that can metabolize minerals so that they're more bioavailable, and the fungi are really good at this. They make them more bioavailable for the plants. So each little microorganism or macroorganism working to do what they do best. They don't have to be like any other organism. They just have to be the very best that they are at being who they are. And really, the truth of the matter is the same is true for us. If each one of us stepped into the brilliance of who we are, not modeling ourselves after anybody else, but being the very best that we're capable of being. To do you, to do me best. That's a little bit of what we're going to talk about here as we step into this ceremony. And it's a ceremony where we can understand on a deeper, deeper level what interconnection really means. Because we often have a theoretical idea about interconnection. But nature doesn't do things theoretically. Only humans do. Nature does things in a concrete way, in a substantial way. And nature does interconnectedness in a way that we might not even be able to fully imagine. And so being able, I'm taking off one of my noisy bracelets here for you. There we go. When we learn from nature, we can begin to understand, not here, I keep jostling my glasses, not here, but here, what real interconnectedness is. Because we are interconnected. We're just not always aware of it. We are hardwired into nature, but our perceptions allow us to think otherwise. And it's a long history of our perceptions thinking otherwise. So let's do this ceremony together. Get comfortable where you are. I'm going to put, hopefully, an image up if I get cooperation from the computer. Let's see. There we go. I'll move this control out of the way. And so I want you to get comfy. If you have a blindfold that you'd like to use, that's fine. If you're just going to close your eyes, that's also fine. Take a nice breath to center yourself and bring yourself back to the present moment. Call your power animal to you. And greet your power animal. And then with your brilliant imagination, imagine yourself stepping outside of your home, and in front of you is the world tree. That impossibly large tree that holds everything in creation. All the worlds, all the upper worlds, the middle world, and all the lower worlds are held in its branches and in its roots. And as you see that marvelous tree, step forward closer to it. I'm going to softly rattle, very softly. And as you get closer to the world tree, you notice that closer you get, when you look to the left, all you see is the bark of the tree, and you look to the right, and all you see is the bark of the tree. But right in front of you is a doorway. And you can see the light peeking out all around that closed door. So step forward with your power animal. Open that door and step inside. You've stepped onto a platform like an elevator. And that elevator is going to gently lower you down into the roots of the world tree. And because the world tree stands also in the place of all trees, as you're going down into the roots, feel yourself flowing to the very edges of those thinnest root hairs. There are big roots, then there are smaller roots, and smaller, until they're those fine little hairs. And because we're in the spirit world, you can get as small as you need to go down into those roots. And there you notice at the very tip of that root, there's something else. There's something else there holding the tip of the root. And now you're stepping outside of the root to look and see, what is that? It's so slender a thread, but it's embracing that little root hair. Follow that thread. This is part of the fungal net that sustains all the forests. And you see how much further than the roots it stretches. And there are nodes where other branches come into that branch, so that you see this incredible web. And it's like filaments of light. And they stretch out from the tree's roots. You go to where the very edges of those filaments are, and look. They're pulling in water, and they're pulling in nutrition, minerals from the soil, in solution. And they're passing them all the way along that network back to that root. Back to that little root hair. And when you see all the other root hairs now have their own connection to this network. And now you step into the root again, and you can feel a current around you. It's two currents, actually. One is water and sugar. Sweetness, and it's flowing out of the root into that light-filled network. And the other current coming in is water and minerals, a solution that is food and drink for the tree. So in this mutual relationship, the fungal network is getting the sugar it needs to live. The tree sharing a bit of its sweetness it makes in its leaves. And in return, it's getting the nutrients and receiving water at a great distance from its trunk, far beyond where its roots reach. And feel the mutuality as you experience these currents. It's more than just substance being shared. Yes, it's sugar going out and water and nutrients coming in, but it's something else. It's light, and it's a kind of love. Let yourself feel this mutual experience between these two very different organisms, keeping each other alive. allowing each other to flourish. How remarkable that is. And follow the nutrients in the water all the way up to the leaves. And go into one of the chloroplasts. It's like a green, translucent room. And there are lots of them in a leaf. And there, the water and the nutrients are mixing with the tree's inhalation. It inhales through an opening in the leaf carbon dioxide. And it mixes this carbon dioxide and the water and the nutrients with the energy of the sun. So when it sleeps over the winter and then wakes again, it will have all the sugar it needs to make new leaves and start the cycle all over again. So through the leaves, the plant or the tree is connected to everything, the sun that shines on your face and on everyone on earth. The breath that we let out when we breathe. The plants and trees take it in. It's connected to the rain that falls from the sky, as well as the water that comes in through the roots. And even the motion of the air allows the tree to dance while never moving its feet. Feel the celebration in that tree, connected as it is to the tiny microorganisms in the soil that help to break down the minerals, that the fungal net breaks down even more and brings to the plants. In return, it's given the sugar that the plant makes in their miraculous feat of magic called photosynthesis. It creates sugar, the food it needs also to build its own body. It uses some of the carbon from the carbon dioxide to build its next growth ring. So it builds its body, stores some to make leaves in the spring. Multitasking. But it relies on that interconnection. So there in the tree, with the tree, allow yourself to feel your connection to it. Your connection to nature. And that you are never separate. Ever. Never separate. Every being on earth is in this sacred relationship. It's what makes life work. And now I'm going to be quiet just a bit while you ask your power animal or your teacher, they may have shown up as well, for a way that you can deepen your sacred relationships with all of life. How can I deepen my sacred relationships with all of life? And as you receive your answer, allow it to go all the way in to every cell. Not just into your mind, but into every cell of your body. So that your heart mind receives it. And your gut mind receives it. And the intelligence in every one of your cells receives it. You are hardwired into nature. And all it takes is remembering and stepping back into sacred relationship. And now bring yourself back to awareness. Thank the tree and all the other beings you met, the fungal network, your power animal, and return to the place where you began. Return to your body, filled with intelligence, hardwired to nature, interconnected. And when you feel ready, take a nice deep breath. Exhale it all the way. Open your eyes and come back to ordinary reality. I want to thank you all for spending some time with me. Let's together, with open hearts, thank the spirits that came, including the spirit of that noisy car that just went by. Thank all the spirits that came as we honored them in the beginning. With open hearts, we send our gratitude into that interconnected web, which we know will always return back to us as well. And we release those spirits that need to go back to their realms. Thank those that are around us always. And I want to thank each one of you. And also you, Sandra. Be well. Take care.